Finnmark is the northernmost region of Norway, and it is in a unique spot seeing it is located between the borders of Finland and Russia. This video will primarily focus on its role in NATO and NATO's war plans during the Cold War. However, even to this day, this is a very unique region, and I highly suggest all of you do a tiny bit of research on the area. To start, we must understand a few things about Finnmark. Finnmark has a relatively low population with only 72,000 in 1961 and 74,000 in 1991. Its population is 89% Christian and 10% other things. This 10% other is vastly composed of the native Sami people. The native Sami people have historically been compared to the Native Americans in America, and this is a very apt comparison. But they do have a little bit more autonomy and a tiny bit more respect than the natives in our country. We also must note the geography of this region. This area is cold, but it has very varying geography, ranging from vast river valleys to also vast forests. This area has a lot of natural resources for the rest of Norway that are based around food and lumber. This area also borders the extremely mountainous Troms region. This is a far more populated region and far more defendable region, but we'll get back to that in a second. Let's also observe the political situation at the time. NATO is pretty early into the Cold War, make an agreement with Russia to not have any NATO demonstrations in this province. They did it more so as a sign of peace and to try to not escalate anything. Finland and Sweden will also, during the Cold War, hold a policy of pure neutrality, meaning it's highly unlikely these countries would provide any help in the case of a war. Acknowledging this, we can observe the plan and understand why NATO made this plan. The plan NATO had was very similar to the Russian plan during the Napoleonic War, making an area scorched earth. To remind everyone, during the Napoleonic War, Russia will burn down its capital of Moscow and a lot of its cities, so the invading French army would have no supplies to gather from these cities and have no way to supply their supply lines, and as of such, their line would collapse. This was pretty much the same strategy from NATO. They would do the exact same thing to Finnmark, and by abandoning it, the Russian army, when they would push into the region, would be unable to properly supply themselves and would take a lot of attrition. This would, over time, allow the Russian offensive to slowly get weaker and more battered down, until eventually the NATO would be able to launch a counteroffensive and possibly push them out of Norway and begin an offensive from the north. So I'm curious what you guys thought of this little slice of history. This is truly an interesting region, and I do intend on coming back to this region to make another video just talking about the region devoid from the Cold War. But for the moment, this is what I've got for you. If you enjoyed, make sure you leave a like, and if there's anything you want me to cover in particular regarding history, I mean, this is the first history video I've ever made on my channel, please write so in the comments. If you have any suggestions on things you would improve, also drop those in the comments. But this has been Christopher Beast, and I hope to see you all next time.